Hi, so today we're going to be looking into potting up this Tineke. So as you can see, it's got two leaves. It was the top cut of the plant from the original mother plant, and it has substantial roots in there. I love seeing the roots as they, root up in water. So this has been in water for about 5 to 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. So it's about 5 to 6 months that it's been in water, and it's developed a very healthy root system. Now, I'm going to be growing this in semi-hydro from Soil Ninja, which is similar to Lechuza Pond. So here in the UK, it's easier for me to get Soil Ninja's substrates, and they've been amazing. So I've got two different kinds of substrates. One is the normal fine substrates. As you see, the size is a little bit on the smaller side, which is great for plants with finer roots. And for the plants with thicker roots, it's the coarse substrate. Now here, I'm going to be mixing both, because what I'm going to do is, in this container, I'm going to be putting the coarse substrate at the bottom and then adding the fine substrate on the top and planting it over there. So when I'm actually going to be watering it, the water will accumulate at the bottom. So this is going to be self-watering, but it's not going to have a wicking cord or another reservoir at the bottom. I'm going to be planting it in the same container. So it is another way to do semi-hydro, and this is going to be the method I'm going to be using for this particular plant. So firstly, I'm just going to put the coarse semi-hydro at the bottom. So as you can see, we've got quite a good layer built in over here of the coarse semi-hydro. Majority of it is going to be the fine, but we'll have quite a good layer of coarse first. So you do want your plant with the root to be on the top. You don't want the roots right at the bottom. But don't worry, your plant is going to grow roots right at the bottom as well. And it'll start wicking up water right from the bottom. So now, as you can see, I've started filling in the fine substrate. And now that should be enough for me to put the plant in. Now, as semi-hydro is a little bit heavy as well, it's brilliant for making sure that the plant stands up as well. So there I go. I have it standing in there, and now I'll fill it up with the fine semi-hydro or pond, whichever company you're using. So let's start. So you're going to fill it up right to the top now. So initially when I took the cutting, I did take the bottom two leaves off, because that way I could have the roots growing over there, and I had quite a nice long stem at the bottom to give it the support that it needs. Otherwise, I would have a very small area for the roots to grow. Now, I do want to just tap it so that any crevices and stuff get filled in. And now, as you can see, the plant is tipping a little bit. And I'm going to be filling up more of the substrate. So let's get a good big scoop out and fill it in. This ideally should be enough. So it's right to the top till the leaf level. And that is it. Now you can do this in any pot, like, if you got any old jars lying around. The only thing you want to make sure is that it's got a nice wide mouth, because as you can see, the root system in this is quite intense. And so I was a little bit like, I don't want to leave it in this for very long, because does have quite a narrow neck, so I didn't know if the roots would come out properly. So there I go. This is quite nice, and it's quite firmly set in. Just adjust it if it needs to. Now that's it. Now, as you notice, we've moved this from water to semi-hydro, right? So there are a few things that you need to keep in mind, because this is now going to be an adjustment that the plant needs to make. So I do add Super Thrive, and it's just 1 drop in a cup of water. The instructions are right here, so do read the instructions. And it's really good to whenever you're moving it from water to soil or to semi-hydro, any other substrate, or even if you're moving your plant from soil to semi-hydro, I highly recommend using this, because it prevents transplant shock, or it helps the plant adjust basically to the new environment. So once that is done, it's time to add water. Now I would want the water to be around 1/3 or 1/4 of the pot itself. Since this was in hydro, so it's got water roots. It's not got soil roots, right? So it's okay if it's got a little bit more water, and let the water, get used up. It's going to evaporate. The water level will start going down. But firstly, I need to ensure that the entire pot is, it's as wet as possible. So I'm going to water it very slowly while constantly moving the pot around. So that way I have as much of the substrate watered and it's nice and wet. But don't worry if not everything is, because through the capillary action, the water reservoir that's going to collect at the bottom is going to keep moistening your pot as well. So don't worry if you don't have everything soaking wet, but as much as possible, let's try and do it as much as possible. So now that I've covered a lot of the area, I'm just trying to keep an eye on the water level at the bottom. So as you can see, I can see water droplets over here and over here. So I'm just going to add a little more, and that's it. There we go. That's the amount of water I've added. And now as you can see, I have it approximately halfway through. And now I will leave it as it is. And as the water level drops, once the water level's around, from here, if the water level gets to around below this point, I will start adding water, and I'll keep it around 1/3, 1/4 in water. Very soon, what you'll start noticing is there'll be roots growing all the way over here, and that's a beautiful sight to see. I love that. I love seeing roots, and this system really lets you enjoy the plant along with the roots. So that's the one thing I love about this system. So this is also another way you can do semi-hydro, by having a water reservoir at the bottom of the rocks, and use the rocks to, of course, keep your plant in place. Now, I've used this the first time round, but I do use this about once a month or once in 2 months. But with every watering, I do use liquid gold leaf that we get over here in UK. And so I am fertilizing my plants with every watering, all my semi-hydro, because basically it's going to be sitting in the bottom reservoir and getting wicked up. So I do that with every watering. So just in case you're curious about the fertilizing part of it. And that is my plant that I have planted up today. And I'll keep you updated with the progress. But I love it. I love the way the Tineke comes up. I love the pink that shows up in it. The pink on the stem. Even the back of the leaf looks beautiful. Just look at that. And the new leaves are just too cute. So I can't wait for this to start growing. And just an update, I did take this cutting in autumn. So what I did find is that though my Tineke, the mother plant, has got one new shoot where I cut it, I literally was looking for 2 branches to grow. So I'm going to probably take another cutting to see if, if I cut it in spring, if it branches out into 2. So wish me luck, fingers crossed. And that's it. But if you do have any questions, please do drop them in the comments, and enjoy your planting. Bye.